It's Friday, January 12th, 2024. Welcome to a new backcountry snowpack summary brought to you by North Shore Rescue. I probably don't have to tell you that it's cold. It's probably around minus 20 this morning. First thing I'd like to do this week is a shout out to the people in North Shore Rescue who have been pushing really hard to get this whole night vision program going. I don't think many people appreciate just quite how much time and effort went into that, especially coming from volunteers. It is quite remarkable. And last night there was a mutual aid call in the Whistler area where night vision was used, and in all likelihood for sure saved some extremities, if not saved 2 lives. So incredible work, and thanks for doing that. Which brings me into our sort of safety discussion for this week. We don't have too much of an avalanche issue right now, and we'll cover that into the snowpack summary. But it is cold, the days are really short, and it's still early season condition, which means that there is a little bit more opportunities to get hurt right now than there normally is out in the mountains. So going out on a day like today is great. It's a beautiful day. But if something happens like a broken leg or even a blown knee or something like that, you're in a world of trouble really quick. So you have to factor these things into your risk management to consider, okay, what are the consequences if we are immobilized here and we have to wait for rescue or even have to spend a night. The fact that it's cold brings an entirely new dimension to your situation. So with that said, it is very unusual weather for the North Shore, and with unusual weather comes unusual avalanche problems. So if you want to know what this cold snap means for the snowpack and what's coming for this weekend and next week, stick around for the snowpack discussion. So this week we're at about 1,200 meters on a southwest aspect, and we had quite a bit of unusual weather this week. So when we talked last week, we had sort of the old refrozen snow that's still there at the bottom, and we had this first storm that fell over Friday night into Saturday that actually started to give us some pretty good skiing, and things stayed nice and cold. And then we had a second storm that came in, and that one occurred on January 8th to the 9th, so Monday to the Tuesday, and that deposited this snow here. Now, at the end of that storm, we had a rain event pretty much all the way to the mountaintop, so we do have this crust here. It's not super hard, it's actually quite brittle, and it skis quite well. It's not like this big sort of strong hard crust. It's sort of a laminated structure. Now, of course, when that rain happened towards the end of the storm in the night between Monday and Tuesday, we had, can't really call it a widespread avalanche cycle because a lot of terrain is still not at threshold, but everything that could produce an avalanche pretty much did. So we had widespread size 1 storm slabs with crowns about 20 to 30 centimeters all over the North Shore. Since then, we had, like after the storm, we had this unsettled weather. So we had periods of clear skies and foggy periods and flurries. And so what you're going to find on the surface, depending where you are, is going to be quite a bit different. All in all, we got about 10 centimeters of snow in those flurries. It will definitely be more or less in various locations. But we also had some very strong winds. Winds initially were from the west with the storm, and then they turned to the north as that cold air started to invade. They're outflow winds, so they're extremely localized. So if you're in a place close to an inlet, like House Sound, for example, if you're going towards Mount Harvey in that area, that snow will be tremendously affected by really strong winds. Right here, we're very close to Grouse Mountain, and today it's not windy at all. So what does this all mean for the weekend and the start of next week? Well, it means that we'll have to be careful about the surface snow, what's sitting on the crust. That might be quite variable depending how much wind effect that you got. So the cold air is going to keep this snow on top really nice and light, and it's going to start to facet. So it's going to essentially lose its cohesion. The big question is what's going to happen on top of it. If it snows on top of this as we head into next week, then we may actually have a persistent weak layer of facets sitting on a crust, which is quite unusual for the North Shore, but typically happens at least once a season. But can definitely take people a little bit off guard because that's not the typical pattern. If it rains on top of this, which one of the models anyway seems to be predicting, this might actually not be such a bad thing because it could potentially take care of that facet on crust issue. One last thing, remember again that early season condition, even though we're getting close to mid-January, so there's a lot of snow sharks, lots of opportunities to get hurt. Very, very cold weekend, so take it easy this weekend, stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you next week.